Hello, it's Mr. Rops here, and today I'm going to talk about radians. And I think you guys have heard of this measurement before, but you don't really know what it's about. Similarly, when we have different units for different types of things, you know that we have kilometers and we have miles. Okay, they both measure distance, but they do it in a different unit. Similarly with Celsius and Fahrenheit, they're both measuring temperatures, but they're two different units to do the same thing. So similarly for angles, we have radians and we have degrees. They both measure angles, but they do it with through a different unit. So in order to define what a radian is, we're going to watch this GIF and we're going to talk about it. So we have a radius, a circle, and if I take that radius and I lay it along the edge of the circle, this whole circle, so this is one radius, and I make another radius, this angle is 1 radian. So it's defined by the geometry of the circle. I got 2 radians, 3 radians. If I go a little bit further, that is pi radians. If I go all the way around the circle, I will get 2 pi radians. And so because radians come from the geometry of the circle, it's more of a true measurement or a true unit, whereas degrees are just contrived. So whenever you do calculus in the near future, make sure you always are in radians. Okay, so a radian is when I have this length is 1, when this is 1 and this is 1, this is 1 radius, or if this is r and this is r and this is r, then I know I have 1 radian. Okay, so there is our radian measure. And the key to it, to convert the two together, is pi is equal to 180 degrees. So pi radians is 180. And so if I want to convert a measurement like 2 pi by 3, this is in radians here. If I want to convert that to degrees, well, I know that pi is just 180. So it's 2 times 180 over 3. Well, doing this one first, 180 divided by 3 is 60. 2 times 60, and this is going to be 120 degrees. And so this, I know that this value here is 60 degrees. As I've done that conversion so many times, I know it off by heart. And so I know that pi by 3 is equal to 60 degrees. And similarly, I also know that pi by 6 is equal to 30 degrees. And like a little memory trick that I have is that 3's and 6's go together. Like it's always the opposite pattern. And so I can quickly do a conversion in my head that, oh, that's 60 degrees, that's 30 degrees. And so I know from here, this was 60 degrees, and 2 60s will be 120. If I want to go the other direction now, if I want to change this to radians, well, I have 150 is my degrees, and I want x radians. Well, my conversion factor is this. I know that's 180 degrees over pi radians. And if I do some cross multiplication, I know I get 180x is equal to 150 pi. Divide by the 180, and x will be, cancel out the zeros, divide by 3, I get 5 pi divided by 3 over 6. And so this is the radian measure for 150 degrees. I also know this is 30 degrees short of 180. So I am going to be pi by 6 short of pi. So pi minus a pi by 6 will give me a 5 pi by 6 as well. And so that's a conversion way that I do it as well, when I know that it's 30 degrees. And this one here I've seen a bajillion times. And finally, one that's not quite so straightforward, so nice numbers, 3 radians to degrees. Well, I want x degrees. Well, I know this is pi radians over 180. So if I cross multiply, I get 540 when I have 3 times 180. And so this 3 radians is equal to 540 divided by pi, which is approximately, if I check out my notes, it is approximately 171.9 degrees. Right, so there's converting between the two.